All right, guys, Chris Cantu here, and you are watching the Straight Line Institute playlist where I'm going to go through various topics regarding no bullshit manifestation. So to give you some background, I've been a copywriter for the last 7 years, and a good portion of my clients, I wouldn't say most of my clients, but some of my clients were very well known in the manifestation space. And so I've written the words and the copy that has sold millions of dollars worth of manifestation products. And so I have a really in-depth knowledge of manifestation and, what works and what is bullshit. And so that's why I feel like I'm qualified to give you this information. And so what we're going to be talking about today is unlimited manifestation and wealth. And it's not necessarily what you would think. And we're going to kind of get into that, but unlimited manifestation and wealth. And so the first kind of introduction to this is I want to give you a topic, and I want to cover something called alternative space or lifelines, if you will. And this is really important, and it'll kind of set up the foundation for the rest of the video. But if you can think back, as long ago as it might be for some of you guys, but in mathematics or, algebra and things like that, geometry, we were taught that there's 3 planes. So you have the X and the Y axis. And then you introduce the Z axis. And so you have X, Y, and Z. So X and Y are going to be the 2-dimensional. The Z plane is what makes it 3-dimensional. Right. And so you can think of plotting coordinates on the X, Y, and Z plane. You have the depth, you have the height, and then you have the width. And so you can kind of extrapolate that into how we manifest things in the world. And the fact is that we have unlimited possibilities. And so alternative space basically says that a material information structure. So it's an infinite field containing information on all possible scenarios of any event that could ever possibly take place. It's also a template or a coordinate grid. You can kind of see here the X, Y, and Z and how you could plot out, the coordinates of a particular space that you wanted to get to using the X, Y, and Z plane. For example, it's organized in sectors. That's more of kind of the mathematics, but the real world reality is it's different scripts, different scenery, different sectors that you run in your mind to get to where you want to go. The greater the distance between sectors, the more the alternatives can differ. So you could be on your path to getting what you want, but there may be different paths to get there. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through this. And then alternative space contains infinite possibilities. So it contains all the information in the world that there ever has been and ever will be. And if you're living in the present moment, you can't go backwards in time, obviously. So it's only from right now, this moment, you're watching this video, from right now until the future is your space to get to where you want and to quote unquote manifest where you want to be. And so the key insight here is that alternative space serves as the underlying structure for all possible versions of reality. And it always exists simultaneously. And we navigate through different sectors of this space and experience different lifelines, each with their own scripts and scenery. So I like to use the term lifelines because we have to take lines to get to where we need to go. So, and they're part of our life. So the lifeline that you experience and that you can manifest a lifeline to the point in space and time where you want to be. And we'll go through the different types of wealth that you would be kind of going for. But I kind of snipped this picture here of the movie Interstellar, and there's a part of it where he's going through kind of towards the end, and he's trying to meet with his daughter back in time when she was like dealing with the watch, and that was him kind of setting the watch back through Morse code. so that she could figure out this one thing that happened way, way in the future. And so this kind of visual style is appropriate here because I think Christopher Nolan was onto something in terms of lifelines and alternative space, because, you know, in the movie, in the scene, it was a visual representation of, you know, X, Y, and Z representing different points of time. And he's trying to find that particular point in time when his daughter was kind of, you know, noticing something weird on the watch, and then the book fell out of the shelf. So if you go back, watch that scene, you could see what I'm talking about if you need a visual representation. But so that's kind of the basis of, you know, there's unlimited possibilities. There's unlimited ways that you can manifest wealth and get on the right lifeline to get you to where you want to go. And so let's talk about the different types of wealth, because, you know, you hear the word wealth and you would think, oh, money, material wealth, or cars, possessions, you know, things that are in the material world. And so often we forget about the other kind of quadrants of wealth that are important, or just as important as material wealth. I would even say some of them are more important than material wealth. And through my life, I've forgotten, like, about health, for example, or about relationships. A lot of you guys followed me from the MGTOW days, and you know, basically MGTOW is like, don't get into any relationships with women, you know, but what about relationships with your friends, with your family, with people that you do business with? You know, these are all types of relationships that are important. And in healthy relationships, whether it's romantic, whether it's with family, you know, a lot of people don't have good relationships with their family. You know, for a long time, I didn't speak to my parents, and that wasn't a healthy relationship, because I was just kind of running from them and from the past, and not dealing with the different kind of issues, you know, specific to my upbringing and my family. Everyone has the same challenge, I think. You know, there's always, you know, the family stuff is always, it's never perfect. And although it could seem like there's an illusion of being perfect, but every person has their traumas, has their kind of baggage and bullshit that they need to deal with from when they were children, and kind of address that with their families. A lot of you guys don't know or aren't close with your families. I'm definitely not close with my father's side of the family. For many years, decades, that I haven't spoken to him or been close to that side of the family. So there's still a level of wealth that is there to be had, and a level of healing which goes along with this, that needs to take place. And so relationships, again, if you're in a good relationship and have a good romantic relationship, that's a form of wealth, where you can communicate, you can get along. Yeah, you can have your disagreements, but you get past them. You know, there's clearly a leader and a follower in the dynamic. You know, you as the man, as the leader, you're the bus driver, she's the passenger, she's along for the ride, and you manage that relationship in a healthy, wealthy way, where you're both on a path to something greater, and you're combining resources, and you're combining your different skill sets and what you bring to the table to get to a better place in, let's say, the three-dimensional world, wherever that may be, whether it's a healthy family, whether it's a financial success, whatever that is. And all of these kind of fall along this lifeline path, where, you know, you're always working towards something, whether you know it or not. So we talked about relationships, health. Man, health, so important for so long. And I've been very blessed to be pretty healthy my whole life, like very healthy. I haven't had any major issues health-wise, although in 2 days I will be having surgery to repair a torn ACL that I tore my ACL playing basketball in December 23rd of 2023. So about a year and a half ago, I tore my ACL playing basketball. And finally, a year and a half later, I'm going to be getting surgery on that. So sometimes health things aren't just things that you're doing, that come from the outside or come from the inside out. I was very healthy. I was like super healthy for my age, but I got injured playing basketball. So that's something from the exterior that kind of happened, and I need to get health. And for the months that I had a torn ACL and I'm walking around with a limp, didn't get surgery right away, walking around, I realized how important health is. And I can imagine if you have some kind of health issue, you can have money in the bank. And how many people have money, but they don't have their health? So that's so important, more important, I would say, than a material wealth. And so relationships, health, obviously material wealth. We live in a world these days where, I get on YouTube and I just see the craziest thumbnails and the craziest videos of people, I made $10,000 with this vibe coding app that I made while I was taking a shit, like these kids are like putting out these YouTube videos, like making $100,000 last week from e-commerce, drop shipping, or, I grew my AI agency to $100,000 a month. Like click here for the full guide, so material wealth, man, everyone wants to be rich and no one wants to put the work in. And it's just getting worse, honestly. Like if you go to when I log on to YouTube, I use an app called News Eradicator, or what is it called? News Feed Eradicator. It's a Chrome plugin that just blocks the home feed, and you can set it for YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. I have it set for LinkedIn. I have it set for YouTube. I don't use Facebook. I wish that there was something like that for Instagram, so that when I log into Instagram, I don't see anyone's posts. I also wish they had it for TikTok. I don't know how, but I have like 7,000 followers on TikTok. TikTok is like a garbage app to use. It's totally pointless, but I hate the feed that comes up. Anyway, what was I saying? So material wealth, everyone wants to make money. No one wants to put in the work. Obviously, it's important. That's the currency that we live by in this world is material things. But I see, like, especially the younger guys out there, they just want the cars and the house and all this money and jewelry and bullshit. And I guess as I've gotten older, like, I've just kind of realized, like, dude, I've had the car. I had the Range Rover. I had the car I had the big truck with 24-inch rims. Like, that shit's boring to me now. Like, I want good health. I want good relationships. I want, and we'll go into the fourth thing here. I want wealth in terms of your expression of gifts and talents, or in other words, your vocation or calling. What do you do all day? What do you, and obviously you need to get paid to do it, but do you have both? Do you have your vocation or calling that makes you material wealth? I was very fortunate that I was able to kind of leave the country, make money with copywriting. I mean, yeah, copywriting, I was good at sales. I could close deals. I could write for people. This was before AI too. So I was like straight up writing, handwriting, everything. I mean, typing. Typing was my best class, I would say, in high school, that I got like a 95 or 96 in. Like, that has made me hundreds of thousands of dollars. Just the skill of typing and being able to spell and being able to communicate in words and being able to sell with words, I was able to do pretty well for myself. Now, is that my calling in life, is to sell? Well, not really. I would say now filmmaking has always been my calling in life. And you see on this channel, I'm putting out more AI videos because it feel like I get in the groove and time goes by and I spend hours and I'm just in the zone and I'm having so much fun putting these little short films together. I'm going to continue to do it. And so that's kind of my calling, is to tell stories in a visual aspect, which does involve writing, music, editing, putting it all together. With AI, you have to prompt. So I think a lot of my copywriting experience, along with my creativity, kind of meshes well together. So I would say that's kind of my vocation. But you could have a lot of money and be super poor in your calling. Like I see these guys that have a lot of money, let's say like investment bankers or, kind of accountants, like I'm sure their vocation is in crunching numbers and doing fucking Excel spreadsheets, you know? So although they may have material wealth, they're very poor when it comes to this quadrant, which is like the expression of your gifts and talents. I've been lucky that for the most part, I've had, these four types of wealth, been pretty wealthy, in my life, given, everything, these four quadrants. Maybe the relationships could have gone better. I'm learning to kind of make amends and deal with this quadrant. I'd say it's probably my weakest quadrant, honestly, but health wise, been super healthy. I've been very fortunate to have a lot of material wealth. And then I think now I'm coming into more of the vocational wealth, or, doing my calling, doing these videos. I did hundreds and hundreds of videos. That was my calling at the time. And then you guys remember, like, I would do a bunch of videos, talking about different things and that I was passionate about. Some of them I'm still kind of passionate about, some of it not, but that was like an expression of my gifts and talents of speaking on the camera, just like I'm doing in this video. So these are the different types of wealth. Just keep that in mind as we're talking about, how to manifest, and, that'll kind of take me to the next section here. Quickly, we talked about this in the last video, but I want to talk about manifestation, and maybe I'll just kind of go over here. And so this video is called Unlimited Manifestation and Wealth. Let me just tell you, and this will be a point I hit on over and over again, is you don't manifest anything. All right. There's no manifestation. If you hear the word manifestation, and I will use it a lot, but in the way that I will use it is the no bullshit manifestation. People will try to sell you things and try to preach to you manifestation, law of attraction. 99.9% of it is bullshit. And I know because I've written the bullshit that has sold a lot of manifestation products. Now, what do I mean by that? So people think that you see this arrow, it's going towards what you want. So people say, oh, you need to manifest. You need to go for what you want. You need to do something. You need to work. You need to do crystals. You need to do a vision board. You need to go manifest. You need to visualize. You need to do affirmations. All of these words are just fucking bullshit to try to sell you something. You don't go and manifest anything. What you do is you live a high vibration life. Over here, we talked about your 30,000 thoughts per day. We talked about the daily emotion tracker. Are you having high vibration thoughts, or are you having a low vibration thoughts? Let's make that bigger. High vibration thoughts, low vibration thoughts. And if you really did a thought audit during the day of these 30,000 thoughts that you're thinking, usually in these 5 categories: dreams and desires, the past, your present moment, your relationships with people, and yourself. Out of those 30,000 or so thoughts, how many of them are high vibration thoughts? How many of them are low vibration thoughts? Are you judging? Are you confused? Are you anxious? Are you indecisive? Are you nervous? Are you judging? Are you criticizing? Are you complaining? Are you self-defeating, sadness, lazy, lethargic, anger? Man, so many days I would live in anger and rage, just so pissed off. Like, don't talk to me. That's very low vibration. And so when it comes to manifesting, what you want, the thing that you want, it actually wants you. It actually wants you, and it's already set up to come and find you. That's the truth. But it will only find you. Let's say this is a scale from 1 to 10, and 1 is low vibration and 10 is high vibration. What you want will always find you at the level that you're vibrating at. So if you're high vibration, you're going to get this super awesome thing. because you spend most of your days in high vibration. Those synchronicities that need to happen for the thing that you want to find you will happen at a high level. If you're thinking low vibration thoughts and you're the victim and you're complaining and you're angry and you're pissed off every day, the thing that you want, they say be careful what you wish for because you might get it. That's what they mean, is you're going to get something, but it's going to be at a low vibration. And then when you continue to get low vibration, you're going to stay stuck in low vibration until you raise up your vibration and learn how to think. You're going to continually get this low quality, low effort things that you want. It'll come in the form of what you thought you want, but the actual manifestation of it will be very low quality. It's like ordering something high quality craftsmanship, handmade, super, super rare up here at high vibration, or getting something off of Teemu, or, like ordering it off of Amazon from China. It's just cheap plastic that breaks the first time you use it. So, what you want, the thing that you want, whether it be health, wealth, relationships, vocation, jobs, how to make money, you'll keep getting that low paying, that really shitty job if you stay in low vibration. But if you raise your vibration, you're going to have access to the synchronicities. Let's go back up to what we were saying about the lifelines. The lifelines are going to find you, but how are they going to find you, and what are you going to attract to yourself with high vibration or low vibration? So just wanted to go through some of those topics today. I'm going to be doing these videos, but I'm going to repeat a lot of this stuff. I'm just going to say it in different ways so that you really saturate your mind with these topics, because the more that you listen to these videos, the more you kind of get it, and then you implement what I'm talking about, the better your life is going to be. I know from experience, because I have a pretty great life now. And you're also, if you're into manifestation or anything like that, I'm going to cut through all the bullshit that's out there, because I've actually, been the bullshitter. Where I'm from in Texas here, we have a saying, you can't bullshit a bullshitter. And I've gotten paid a lot of money to be a good bullshitter. So I'm going to cut through all of that. I'm going to give you the real deal. And if you implement some of these things, you may see some changes for the better in your life. So again, Chris Cantu, Straight Line Institute, and we will hit you guys back tomorrow in another video. Peace.